WWE is reportedly planning a surprise for Crown Jewel. We're going to talk about it. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe. All right, guys, I want to kick things off talking about Ric Flair. It appears that WWE had actually rejected Ric Flair's return. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Ric Flair signed a 2-year deal with AEW, which was actually 2 totally different deals. The original deal was a sponsorship deal for his energy drink as the official energy drink of AEW. Now, they actually attempted to make a deal with WWE for the drink, but WWE had already had a energy drink deal in place, so Ric Flair and the team went to AEW instead, and obviously here we are. Ric Flair is back in AEW. A lot of people are shocked to hear this from me. I was never a fan of Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels as a kid growing up watching wrestling. And you could also add Hulk Hogan to that list because I wasn't a fan of Hulk Hogan either. I have no problem with AEW bringing in older people. If you actually watch my videos, I have said time and time again, AEW could bring in somebody older. They typically book them well. They book them in a situation where they're not actually like hurting the younger talent because, as you have seen, people that work with Sting and Christian Cage, for example, they benefit from it. Jake the Snake Roberts was on TV. Lance Archer somewhat benefited from it, obviously when they were together. Arn Anderson on TV. Cody Rhodes benefited from it. Everybody else who worked with Arn Anderson benefited from it. The thing is, the Ric Flair backlash stems from a lot of things. I think a lot of fans are, one, they don't want Ric Flair on TV. That's like the first thing, right? 2, there's really not much value that Ric Flair could bring AEW. And 3, you have to understand that the outside of wrestling stigma, like the reputation that he has, it's not good for AEW. And I think that's the big thing too. It's like collectively, I mean, look, the allegations and stuff is already bad enough, but then you're collectively putting all this stuff together. That's why people don't want Ric Flair on AEW. That's why people are calling Tony Khan a hypocrite, because Tony Khan has been vocal about Vince McMahon and stuff like that, but then, you bring in Ric Flair, a lot of people see the hypocrisy. It's a shame, but at the end of the day, I feel like AEW should have known better, and I think Tony Khan should have known better. If Ric Flair wrestles for AEW, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the last straw for many people. As far as WWE not wanting Ric Flair, obviously, we're very smart about how this works. WWE, energy drink deals, whatever, that's not their business, man. They already got something cooking over there. They don't need Ric Flair's energy drink. Ric Flair needed WWE. Obviously, why he would go to WWE first, being that they're the largest company. Then you go to AEW second. I understand. But I also understand why nobody's happy about this, and I don't think that's going to change. I think this announcement, this reveal, really did bother people, and it's unfortunate. I want to turn our attention to Bron Breakker. There is a belief that Bron Breakker could be called up to the main roster. Multiple sources have come out and said that Bron Breakker could be the next one to be called up to the main roster. Dave Meltzer also spoke about this a little bit. Basically, there are a lot of people, in NXT who are getting ready for call-ups. We just saw the Creeds, Ivy Nile get called up. There's still a little bit of a question mark as to whether or not the Creeds will be on Raw or SmackDown. Obviously, they have something really special with Diamond Mine. Right now, NXT has something really cool happening between Bron Breakker and Von Wagner. But it's just starting to get the juices going, right? The juices are just starting to flow even a little bit more. Obviously, there's more to happen in the storyline. I don't know if we see a Bron Breakker call-up immediately. A lot of people seem to believe that it is happening imminently. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But I will say this. Bron Breakker, more than ready to be on the main roster as a top star. He gets it. He's going to be great. I think the most shocking aspect of Bron Breakker is actually the fact that he's a really, really good heel. As a babyface, he's another John Cena, Roman Reigns type that just gets forced down your throat. We saw how it didn't work with Austin Theory when Vince McMahon tried it. Again, Vince McMahon really just disconnected, not really understanding what the audience wants. That's why you see Triple H taking a lot more relaxed tone with Austin Theory. But Bron Breakker as a babyface is one of those guys. And I hate to group him in that list because he's such a fantastic talent. But as a babyface, when you're forced down everybody's throat as the next guy, the fans immediately reject it. And that's why I like Bron Breakker as a heel. What's interesting, though, is WWE also has Carmelo Hayes in NXT. When you look at Carmelo Hayes in NXT, you're noticing a guy who could be a top babyface in the company. And look, I'm just going to say this flat out. Like, I genuinely believe this. Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes, to me, is Stone Cold and The Rock. That's how I look at their future. And if you don't like that statement, that's crazy. I guess we'll find out in a couple years, right? It's going to take a lot of time to see if that prediction comes true, but I'm pretty sure that one's going to be coming true. Those two guys get it. And I always thought it was going to be Carmelo Hayes as the heel, but I've actually very quickly realized that Carmelo Hayes will be a absolutely incredible babyface in the WWE. There is something very unique about these two people that when they go to the main roster, it is going to be somewhat of a game changer for WWE, which is why timing is actually incredibly weird right now. I don't see why Braun Breaker would need to be on the main roster right now. I like the idea of him on the main roster, but I don't see why he would need to be on the main roster. I'm not sure what type of void he would be filling on the main roster. So if Braun Breaker is the next one to get called up and he's just kind of chilling around backstage and kind of doing nothing, that's going to hurt Braun Breaker in the long run. I'm okay with everything being slow burn, but when you're making a debut for somebody who is projected to be one of the faces of the company, sometimes that long burn kind of sucks. You know what I mean? I just want to see more NXT call-ups transition seamlessly, and we haven't had enough of those under Triple H to understand whether or not that will happen here. With Vince McMahon, hell to the no. Because Vince McMahon didn't know what the hell he was doing with NXT call-ups. He was doing everything to change whatever Triple H or Shawn Michaels was doing in NXT. That guy did not give a rat's ass about NXT. It was very clear by the way he brought people up. And that's part of the reason why I never really liked the idea of people getting called up from NXT back in the day. Because you would see people get called up and literally just get buried for no freaking reason. And, that's actually one of my biggest complaints about Vince McMahon. Why would you bury your own talent when you could be making money? It doesn't make sense. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video, guys. WWE Crown Jewel. Very interesting stuff coming out. Guys, there is a source called TET. This came from the HMW podcast. Now, this tweet was written in Arabic, okay? Using the translation tool from Google, the tweet came out and said, scheduled now is a Miz TV segment with Grayson Waller and a famous local personality. There is no news about the character's identity yet, but it is certain that he is not a football player. TET. Now, this tweet was translated in Arabic. We're going to hope that the translation tool from Google is accurate. Boozer Wrestling actually was wondering about who this source is because he heard the same information. So there is a lot of confidence that I would say I have a lot of confidence in this tweet that clearly WWE is planning something because we all know WWE Crown Jewel, they're trying to treat it like a big spectacle. They typically do. But who the hell could it be? Who the hell could this surprise be? If it's a local personality, but it's not a football player, then it's obviously not Cristiano Ronaldo. So who is it that they could be bringing in on this stage? Let alone, they're doing a segment with Miz and Grayson Waller. That's going to be really interesting. I want to know what WWE's got cooking up here. Now, keep in mind, there's rumors that Kairi Sane could be back. There's rumors that, Braun Breaker could be called up to the main roster. There's rumors of, Liv Morgan coming back from a return. Like, there's a lot of things that are being talked about right now. But who is the one that's going to come back? Or who is the one that's going to appear in this segment? Clearly, WWE keeping it tight-lipped. And please don't say CM Punk, because that's not realistic at all. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.